Good afternoon. It is June the 10th, 2022. We're just getting into the last half hour of the trading day and week, and it's been both a brutal week and a brutal day. But let's go ahead and look at these slides quickly. Here's my standard risk disclaimer. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. And once again, if you're not an HCSI user and you would like to give it a try, just go to highgrowthstock.com. Here is the complete URL, but you can go to the website and find a link where you can get free 30 days of both the software and my Insider Club. As I said, it's been a brutal week, and we're exactly 30 minutes from the close right now, and you can see that there has been some buying coming in. These are the futures for the S&P 500 or the E-minis, and these are the NASDAQ. Now, I'm going to open this up, and you can see that as the NASDAQ came down, let me zoom out on this a little bit. This is when the CPI numbers were released, and it just dropped drastically and worked its way down throughout most of the day. There were some attempted rallies. These are 5-minute bars. And then as we got down here, the low was put in at 11,849. And during this time period, notice these red bars here. I noticed that they were red throughout this period, and then when we got a little rally here, you can see they changed to a cyan color and then more red as the volume was starting to decrease. It was very heavy here. Notice how the volume started decreasing as the market started looking for some equilibrium, or I should say the NASDAQ futures rather than the market. So volume here relatively quiet compared to the selling volume. So this indicates that some traders were stepping in to stem the fall. Going to restore the sells. Let's just look over here. Look at the volume. It's relatively light today. This is the NYSE, and this is the NASDAQ. Now, with 30 minutes to go, this could really spike up here, but I'm surprised that it isn't higher right now. I'm going to bring a chart of the NASDAQ comp. This is a 78-minute chart of the NASDAQ composite. I like to use this because it gives a little bit longer view of the market rather than looking at 5 or 10 or 15-minute charts. And you can see the gap here when the market opened on the CPI news. That happened, actually, the CPI came out at 7:30, and here's 8:30. Tried to rally just a little bit and then dropped, and it came down here and buyers started absorbing a little bit. It took a long time. Here's where we are right now with 20 minutes to go in the market. So it looks like the free fall is over for the day unless we have last minute selling. Now I'm going to get out of Thinkorswim. I'm going to go into HCS Investor. This is under my daily prospecting scans. This is 1A. These are stocks that are all assigned to industry groups. I'm going to bring up the Spectrum Analyzer. This is where the market currently stands. It was running a 10-to-1 negative, but you can see which, and this corresponds with what we see in the composite. There was some buying to bring this to an 85 to 15 approximately. 85 down for 15, or 85% down, 15% up. So it is improving a little bit. At its worst during the day, at its worst point, I believe it was almost 95% down. So we're seeing some improvement. Now I haven't updated my groups for 30 minutes. Let's just go into the designer. I'll click on industries and I'll rebuild the indexes in the group. This is taking the stock data, which is updated every 5 minutes, and it's building the industry groups. You can see when I did it last, it was up. Precious metals were up 3.01%, and looks like that's unchanged. So the market hasn't changed that much. So where is the strength today? Well, there's precious. The easiest way to do this is just to go into the industries and then go up to my HCSI index analysis views and select indexes up today. And these are the indexes and the amount that they're up today. Precious metals and mining is a lot of very inexpensive stocks. Telecom, consumer products, tobacco, and so on. All the usual suspects. So 9 down and 165, or 9 up, 165 down. Going to go back to all securities and once again go down to my 1A view. Let's just run through a few of these things. First of all, I want to look at active up, and you can see, looking over here at the industries, some of these same stocks in these groups that were up. There are some others, of course, but these are stocks that are active and up today. You can be lucky, but it's hard picking these stocks out, because if you start chasing them in the morning, they can get hit and you're holding a losing hand. But let's just take a look here. I'm not familiar with these stocks. Bring up the double chart here. Very inexpensive stock. That's why we have such a high percentage gain. Here's an energy company. Now look at this. This is a daily chart here. This is a daily chart. And let's look at the weekly chart on here. Wow. Good. Now this would have come up in screens. Let's just make this full screen and take a look at it. I'll get an arrow here. The 3 crossed the 6 right here. You can see it on there. There were 1, 2, 3 VPA signs signaling that the stock was under accumulation. The fan was up 200, 150, 18, the 3 above the 6. And this thing has made a spectacular move from around 430 to 618. And this happened several days ago. Pocket pivots, bullish, one negative, but several pocket pivots. And if I minimize this and go to this 2A chart, it tells me that the days since the 3 crossed the 6 13 days ago, because 0's the crossover day, and days since the VPAC crossed 14 days ago. That same information is up here in these 2 columns. This stock would have been picked up by a VPOC crossover, a 3-6 crossover, and I don't really have a pocket pivot scan in here because these seem to happen at the same time, the VPOC and the pocket pivots, but either one of these scans that I have in my regular list would have picked this stock up back on that date. And then there are some other scans, and I'll just go down to one to give you an example. This continuation indicator. Notice that using the 6A continuation indicator, it appeared yesterday, and the reason it appeared is because there was a pocket pivot in a stock that was trading above both the 3 and the 6-day exponential moving averages. So when these pocket pivots or an effort to rise are generated when a stock is in this condition, I consider this a continuation. Putting a crosshair on, you can see the continuation started here, pocket pivot day, here, here, and again today. The first indication that there was interest in this stock was back here with this pocket pivot and also the VPOC, volume point of control, turning positive, and then it chopped around for a few days and took off. Okay, moving on, I'm going to go to my market leaders intraday. These are stocks that are market leaders, and some of them are up today, but a lot of them are down. If I bring this back up, you can see that 19% are up and 81% are down. So the market leaders held up, some of them, but most of them are down. I'm going to move to a different view. Going to go down to the leaders. Click on leaders up, intraday on volume, and you can see that only one stock is. These are stocks that have a fan in place and they're up for the day, and this is the only stock that shows up. Now when I go down to leaders down intraday on volume, these are leading stocks that are above the fan moving averages, but they're down for today. There just aren't that many of them because so many of the fans are broken, so many of the leaders are broken. And these, the requirements for both of these that I've just shown, they have to have heavier than normal volume. And let's go back up to leaders up on volume. You can see the volume is much heavier compared to the 20-day and the 90-day. There could be more leaders down on volume, but I meant to say there could be more leaders that are down, but the volume numbers just aren't high enough for the stock to appear in this screen. There are just not a lot of positive things to look at today. I'm going to go into the designer. I'm going to rebuild my user smart groups. I'll pause it while this runs for about 30 seconds. Okay, there's 7 minutes to go. I just update these smart groups. If you go into my user smart groups, click on the first one, intraday market indicators, and then go into the first folder, market component stocks, up and down intraday. I'll make sure a filter is off by holding the shift key and clicking on that. These are all of the stocks in the major indexes. The S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, the OEX, and so on, and the S&P 1500. I put this in a while back to get a quick read on strength. You can see there are 282 up and 2,330 down. So 10 to 1, around 10 to 1. The Dow, 3 up, the rest are down. Let's go down here to the NASDAQ 100. 7 up and 93 down. If you don't want to switch from group to group with the warehouse view, this is a fast way to see where the strength and weakness is. Now let's go back down to the stocks assigned to industry groups. 502 up, 3302 down. Now I'm going to go in here and look at this. These are stocks that are up intraday, or they were when I ran this a few seconds ago. Let's just bring this up. And you can see that all 100 of these stocks are up for the day. So this is a way to get a quick read. If you do the smart group updates, then you can come in here and click on this and then click through to your warehouse. You can sort on the industry groups. And all of the industry groups are not going to be up, obviously, but all of these stocks are up. If I go to the top here, you can see that some of them, the percentage that they're up, I'll just sort on this. Some of them are up pretty substantially. This is Redbox. It's come out of this bottom here, and it's really made a considerable move up in a group which has really been poor entertainment content. Here's a pharmaceutical. The thing I like to do when looking at these is I like to sort on the intraday range and then go in and just flip through charts. Get this out of the way. I'll make this a weekly chart. Just flip through the charts, see if there are any potential trades there. You can see that some of these have been working their way higher in this very poor market. But there's all kinds of things you can do with HCSI. If you to be able to look at up stocks in a down market or down stocks in an up market, everything's here. These are the down stocks. These are the up stocks, and I have several different groups here. If you want stocks 1 to 75, that's here. There are no biotechs in these groups of stocks right here, so there's a real variety. Anyway, the market's about ready to close. I think it probably backed off. Here's a 78-minute chart. This rally going into the end of the day could not hold. People just don't want to hold the risk over the weekend after this ugly day. I thought maybe we'd get some more buying, but it's not going to happen. I'll minimize this. You can see what happened with the 5-minute chart on the ES minis. Look at this volume coming in. Same thing on the NASDAQ E-minis. False hope here. It didn't materialize, and we're going to close at or near the low of the day, it looks like. Look at the advanced declines here. They were moving up, and now they're falling again. Just a very, very fast market, and if you're a day trader or a futures trader, you really have to be disciplined because the short time I was away from this, look how quickly that turned. There's the closing bell. Well, that's it for me for the report. I do these on Friday afternoons because I like to keep my weekends free rather than looking at charts. And I think it's actually more interesting to look while the market is open. We can see changes dynamically in both Thinkorswim and HCSI. Thanks for listening. Have a good weekend, and protect your capital. This is no time to be bottom fishing. Wait for some constructive action. I'm going to come. I said I was done, but I'm not. What I'm looking for, first of all, it's going to happen on the 78-minute chart. I need to see a higher high. Let's say a higher high than this, and then higher high than this point, and then I'd like to see a little pullback, higher low, and then a move up. Until I start seeing some constructive action like this or similar to this, I'm really not interested in trading the long side.